Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the AstroEnergy show for November 18th. I'm very happy that you could join me, and I want to give a special shout out in my chat room to Susie because she found me. I have decided to change. Actually, I should tell you, my name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm here every week, usually Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern, but I occasionally I like to change things up, and currently I just realized that the time my show is at is not optimal anymore, so I need to change it, and I'm changing it to 11 o'clock in the morning. And what that does is it allows me to reach a broader audience, and I can reach across the pond over to England, which is a market and an area. I shouldn't say market. I really want to look at it that way because it's not like that. It's more making friends. So I want to reach people over in England, and I can also reach people on the West Coast if I have it at this time. Of course, my listening audience is a lot less than my actual archive, I should say live audience, that is less than my archived audience. So I figure, you know what, I hope I can get new callers and new listeners at this time. So we're going to try it at this time, but until probably 3 weeks, and then I'm going to switch to Tuesdays. I was going to switch to Tuesdays this week, but it turns out I have been called for the fourth time for jury duty, and it is a Tuesday. So that's not going to work, and it doesn't make sense to change the time and then change it back. So I'm just going to change it to Tuesdays after jury duty. Anyway, it is so good to talk to you, so good that you're here, and hopefully as time goes on, people will find me, and I will have people who want to get a reading because I really love giving readings. But we've got half an hour before that happens, roughly. And so in the interim, I am going to tell you about astrology. So let me just situate myself. Oh, and it's interesting because usually when I'm giving or when I do the show, the weather is very beautiful, and occasionally I'll get rain. Never do I get rain in the morning, but here in Orlando, it has been raining all night, crazy, and we're getting rain on and off, kind of like tropical storm rain. But it's been really, really beautiful. So that kind of segues into this week's astrology. So currently, and I'll get to that in a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. So currently in Orlando, we have a Capricorn rising, so that puts Pluto right there on the cusp at 13 Capricorn. So Pluto is structures again, and well, actually Pluto in Capricorn is structures, and also getting to the heart of the matter, finding out things that were hidden. And in the second house, we have an Aquarius energy with a moon in Aquarius at 17. We also have Neptune in Pisces in the second house in the Eastern time zone. And so Neptune in Pisces is retrograde until 12:30. So in 1 hour and 26 minutes, we have Neptune retrograde, and then it goes direct. Actually, it's considered station, which means it's slowing down to go direct. And so if you look out the window at the rain, it's been coming down so gently, and that is Neptune in Pisces. It's just going, here, have some rain, and it's just gently falling, very lightly, a little bit more than just a light mist, but very, very pretty. And we also have South Node now in Pisces, South Node in Pisces and North Node in Virgo, and they just moved in the last week to that sign. They were in Libra and Aries, and now they're in Virgo and Pisces, and they will be there for a year and a half. And that adds to the lessons of the Virgo-Pisces axis. So also Jupiter is at 19 Virgo. So now we have the North Node in Virgo and Jupiter in Virgo. So I'm anxious to find out when those two cross. I know they're going to be crossing here within a year, so it's going to be really exciting to see that happen. But the Virgo energy is about healing. Pisces is about end of stories, the story from the past, illusions, emotions, spirituality, a connection to the ethers. So it's a really interesting energy we're bringing in, and I'll get to that in a little bit here. So we have Uranus in Aries at 17. So today, right now, we have Moon at 17 Aquarius, and its ruler Uranus in Aries at 17. So they're in sextile, which means that they are working in tandem. They are shaking hands, so to speak. And so that is emotion and intensity and the unexpected. And there's an inconjunct to Jupiter at 19 right now. And some of you, and I should probably call this up, if we haven't got a lot of callers, I'm going to look into this a little later in the show. I actually have done a chart, and I posted it on my Facebook page for the Astrologer Angel site for the chart of the Paris attack. So hang on one second. Okay, that helped. So let's see, where is it? I keep a lot of charts for events, so I call it an events chart file. And so I posted the event of the attack, and online I posted the chart, but I was asked what it means, and I haven't had a chance to actually talk about that, but I'm going to call it up here, and if we have time today, I'll go over that. But the reason I bring it up is because right now Jupiter is at the apex of a finger of God aspect right now with the Moon and Uranus. And so the Moon and Uranus are sextile, and Jupiter is up there at the pinnacle in conjunct to the Moon and to Uranus. So that's a healing and a spiritual connection, and it can also be the military. The Moon is emotion, but there's a detachment, and because it's associated with Uranus, because it's in Aquarius, Uranus is there in Aries. Now, Aries is aggression, and Uranus is explosions and the unexpected. And so we have major life changes, and the energy right now is also global because we have the Jupiter apex. So there's more information coming out and more energy going into what was going on with the attacks. Now, I'm getting into it now. I don't want to get into it now. I'll wait because I'll bring up the actual chart. But suffice it to say, there was a finger of God in the attack, in the time of the attack. It wasn't this finger of God, but there was one. So we'll get to that in a minute, or maybe half an hour. Okay, so we've got Jupiter in Virgo, North Node in Virgo, Mars in Libra now, which is the subject of our show, Venus in Libra at 10, Mars is at 3, Sun is at 25 Scorpio, and Mercury is now at 26 Scorpio. So Mercury just went past the Sun, and Mercury, it can be accidents, but it's communication. In all the years I've been researching astrology and accidents, there always seems to be either a Virgo connection or a Mercury connection when there are charts on accidents and things that happen that way. So the Sun combust Mercury, which it just was within the last day, can mean we're experiencing energy coming out that was hidden. And again, sexual energy, aggression, that which is political, it can be governmental, it can be legal, and it can be death and rebirth, anything that's associated with Pluto or Plutonic energy, which can also be explosions. There's a lot of intensity going on right now. I'm not even going to kid you. And I don't like to dwell on the intense things, but sometimes when there's just so much of it, that has to be addressed. So anyway, I want to say welcome to people in the chat room who found me. Hey, good to see you. And also, if anybody wants to get in line for a phone call, there is a line going, not a very long one, but the number is 347-994-3365. And you can also, I believe, call, no, I I can't give that out. So I don't have a Skype number. So just call 347-994-3365. And yeah, I'll get to your call as soon as I can, which will be right after we talk about our planets. And then Saturn is in Sagittarius at 6 degrees. So Saturn is squaring Neptune it's about 1 degree off of a square, which is going to be next week's show. So probably, I think I already posted the show for next week. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about the square to Saturn next week because it's on Thanksgiving. So that'll be pretty intense. But, well, it's all intense, okay? Anyway, so let's talk about Libra, because Libra is, Mars in Libra. Libra is the energy of diplomacy. Mars in Libra is about diplomacy. Mars is about aggression, but Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is also in Libra right now, so she's in her own sign. The thing is Mars wants to take action on diplomacy, wants it balanced, which quite honestly is a very good energy for what's going on in the world right now. Mars in Virgo was more about the pragmatism of the situation, and it was about healing, but it was also about military action because Virgo does have a connection to the military. Mars in Libra is about the ramp up to doing something more committed. It is about figuring out what the options are. It's about weighing all sides of the matter. And it's interesting because right after the Paris attacks, the social universe is now really on fire with opinions both ways. Take action, don't take action, accept refugees, don't accept refugees. So we are expressing a very clear duality from what happened. And Mars wants to find a solution. It wants to triangulate. It wants to come up with that middle ground. So look for the next month to be about back and forth, trying to work out a deal and figure out what would be the best way to go. Now, of course, Obama has strong Libra in his chart. He also has strong Leo, and he has some Virgo. So he's got this part of his chart really hit with what's going on, and you can look to find him not taking definitive action, which Libra can do. Libra wants to weigh the options. They don't want to commit. By a month from now, Mars will definitely be in Scorpio. Actually, I'm going to double check that. I don't want to just say that. I know for sure Venus will. But Mars gets to Scorpio, in January. So a little over a month. So it'll be January 4th. And he'll be there for 2 months. So look to the beginning of the year to have more definitive action taken with what's going on. So Mars isn't terribly comfortable in Libra. Mars wants action, and you can see that all over the opinions everybody has. So an opposition is coming about with Mars to Uranus. So there will, again, be some type of test of this balance, of this diplomacy. And I'm going to look up that for you. So Mars at 17 degrees will be in exact opposition. And interestingly, in December, Uranus goes direct at 16. So Mars hits that degree at the 12th of December. So it's really happening in the next 3 weeks. We'll see a real strong opposition. And the other thing, because of Mars opposing Uranus, Uranus has been in square to Pluto until just a few months ago. And now he has broken free from Pluto's grip. He's going to be direct on Christmas. So he's about to go direct next month. And right before he goes direct is an exact hit with Mars. So the symbology, which is what astrology is about, is Mars taking action, aggression, Libra saying, no, let's not do that. And then Uranus in Aries, which is Mars energy, is also the energy of detachment and concern for self. So Libra is the concern for the diplomacy and getting along, where the opposite is, no, let's just do it. But Mars wants to take the action. So when you combine Mars and Libra and Uranus and Aries, what that says symbologically, anyway, is there's going to be an energy of pushing for a change, because Uranus is about the change. Aries is about action. Mars in Libra is finding a resolution between two opposing energies. And so there will be some type of event that pushes this energy forward, but in an effort to find a solution. So Mars will be right there trying to find it, and by the time he gets into Scorpio in January, that's when it will come to fruition. Because also keep in mind that Libra is the energy of thinking and concepts, and not really tangible. It's an air energy, so it wants to find the idea. It's not looking necessarily for the groundedness. It's saying, what are the possibilities? What can we do? And Uranus also, because it rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is an air energy, is about the concept. So look for about a month and a half to find this is all just kind of probably really frustrating for fire signs, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. They're going to want to take definitive action, and they're going to be yelling for definitive action, but it isn't what the energies are right now. The energies right now are about diplomacy and healing, and that's a real frustrating thing for the fire signs. And on top of it, for the next month and a half, just over a month and a week, 5 weeks, Uranus is retrograde. So Uranus is dwelling on this idea of moving forward and really making a shift in the world, because Uranus is moving us towards a global vision and a shift and change towards an ideology that is based on autonomy. It isn't based on authoritarianism. So those who are still stuck in an authoritarian mindset, which is pretty much most of the world, I would say, we are all having to really look at the dogma of that ideology and what is it that it does in our world, and start to take ownership, because that's what it's about. It's about ownership. Now, the Pluto Capricorn energy is the energy of hammering it until it fits a circle peg in a square hole, and that just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. That's what the Pluto-Uranus square was about. As Uranus turns direct and continues to head towards its future and its vision, it is triggering the global population to really look at what it means to be autonomous versus authoritarian. And I put it in those terms because authoritarianism precludes that there is someone in charge, someone who has the final say, and someone who has to go along with it or who they're acting on behalf of. So Uranus in Aries is saying, but I don't want to be told what to do. So when he moves forward on Christmas, actually I don't have the exact time, but it's pretty much Christmas Day. Just look towards Christmas Day. Uranus will be direct. He is going to say, I've had enough of shifting what I want to the authoritarian figure, and I'm going to go forward with my vision. And quite honestly, it's not going to stop, because Pluto, while in Capricorn now, he is moving towards Aquarius. And that means that he is going to ultimately be answering to Uranus. And so we are headed towards a view of life as, this is my say. I don't want to answer to others anymore. And that's a difficult transition from having a body speaking on behalf of the masses. So it's quite interesting. Anyway, hope that gives you a little bit idea of what's to come with Mars and Libra. As far as personal relationships, it means that we are shifting once again. And the view, and because I said this last week, but it's true, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, that energy, we just had Saturn go through all that. Saturn was the last slow-moving body through there for a while. We've had Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. Jupiter will be the very last energy going through that. I misspoke. Saturn is the last slow-moving energy. Jupiter only takes a year to go through a sign, so he is technically slow-moving, but I consider Jupiter to be one of the forces in our solar system and our zodiac, because Jupiter is so enormous. He has such an amazingly powerful energy and pull in our lives. Even though it isn't as long as Saturn or Neptune, he definitely can make a huge shift in our world. And the transition is a key word for that. So as we face these next 3 years, and personally through 2020, and I keep saying this, but it's true, 2020 is a huge demarcation because Saturn will be in Capricorn, Pluto will be towards the end degrees of Capricorn and closer to a conjunction with the time that we started this country. It's just a huge shift. And so for the next 5 years, but more so the next 3 years of this last healing, relationships, and commitment energy. And it can be a little uncomfortable at times, but with Jupiter, it's going to be not as bad as it was with Saturn. So I'm going to throw that out there. Jupiter expands, but he also brings fortune and luck to the signs he's in. So it's a good energy coming through these last the three signs, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. So, okay, that being said, I am going to take an early break and then take a call. If you want to get your reading, call in 347-994-3365. And if no one's calling, I will take the chat room reading because about someone, Nancy, in the chat room. So we're going to get to our callers here in a minute. And until then, we're going to listen to this. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com. Hey, welcome back. My name is Shelley Overton, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. Today is November 18th. We are looking at 25 Scorpio, so we're going to have Scorpio our Sun go into Scorpio this week. And so it's going to be, what am I saying? Sun is in Scorpio, it's going into Sagittarius. So awesome. So that means that the Sun will be answering to Jupiter, which is in Virgo, and healing. So I'm going to just keep a good thought. So there's healing on global scale because Jupiter and Sagittarius rule foreign affairs. So, and also the interaction of countries. So with Saturn in Sagittarius, Sun will be in Sagittarius, Jupiter is in Virgo of healing, and North Node just went in Virgo. North Node is the fortunate node and the positivity that you glean from the transformation of the South Node, which is what you bring in from a past life. So lots of energy going on, so much energy. Anyway, we'll take a call, and if there are no other callers, then we're going to get to some more astrology in the chat room, and we'll talk more about the attacks. So let's see who we have. Oh, I take it back. I'm not going to call on that person. If you want a reading in the queue, just hit 1 and I'll call on you. But they didn't raise their hand. So I was about to call on them, and I apologize if you're just listening in. I didn't want to interrupt that. So let's see here. I'm just going to go real quick to the chat room, and I'm just going to read this so everybody, I hope you don't mind in the chat room. So I've got Nancy in the chat room, and she says, hi, I'm excited to be listening. I'm on hold. Oh, okay. So if you're on hold, just hit 1, and then I'll know you want a reading, unless you just want it spoken and you don't want to interact. Oh, I'm just going to try it. What the heck? See, I don't know what to do when... Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Hi. Are you there? Hi, is this Nancy?
It is. Hi.
Hey, good. I'm going to turn you up. I can't hear you real well. Maybe...
Oh, let's see here. Can you hear me better now? Where'd you go? I can't hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I just turned the volume down on the break, and I accidentally hit mute when I was trying to turn the volume up.
Okay.
I swear, it's a new time, so I'm getting used to the different energy. Yeah, so have you called before?
Never. I found you last week while, messing
awesome.
around. I study astrology for fun and love it, and I love what I heard last week. I'm like, I've got to listen to this lady, live and give a call in sometime.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
I received your email reminder, so I jumped right on.
Oh, nice. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, my gosh, my phone's going crazy. Let me just turn off the volume on that. Okay. So, anyway, yeah, good. I've got your information on here, so I'm just going to, do you mind if I tell the audience?
No, go
so they can follow along? Okay, great. It's March 29th, 1961 at 1:50 a.m. in Chicago. So we're going to do your chart. And I'm just reading here, you said you want to know what's going on. Did you have any? Oh, okay, and then you have a long story short. I'm going to let you tell me that if you want to, and then we can look at what's going on after you tell your little story.
Well, my husband and I are both Capricorn risings. I'm a 13 degree. He's a 18 degree. So needless to say, Pluto's been hanging around us for a while. And we have been going through major transformation the last couple of years. We moved to a new state, yada, yada. But we got ourselves involved in a business partnership with someone who asked us to join them in a business, and she turned out to be not such a nice person. And she has sued us. That was 2 years ago, and it's been going on for 2 years, and it keeps feeling like it's almost over. And we have a very solid case on our side, but I just want to know that it's over because it's holding us back from purchasing a house that we recently found that we're interested in. And we just really want to get moving on our life, and can we get rolling on this? Let's roll. Ready to change.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, it's really interesting, that you're saying that because you've got that Saturn is in Sagittarius. You're feeling that it's making a shift, it's changing, but it's not quite there yet. And yes, it is shifting, but of course, all the other planets are doing their little thing. So you're sitting there having to deal with what's going on with them and their transits and then retrogrades and squares. And yeah, the Virgo energy is definitely affecting you. So hang on one second. I'm just getting your husband's up here too. Anyway, so hang on. I keep getting that one. Let me get that out of the way. Okay. So I'm just putting all these charts up, and that's what I've been doing while you were talking. Okay. So for you, you have a Capricorn rising, and you have a 13-degree Capricorn rising, which means now Pluto is in your first house. I mean, literally, it's 41 minutes, and your rising sign is 4 minutes. So it just went in, like a few weeks ago. It's actually, it seems like it would be a lot more recent, but minutes are really long when it comes to Pluto. So it's about a week and a half that it's been there. So that is, Pluto in your 12th house. You can say thank goodness now, because Pluto in the 12th house is not an easy energy. It's a lot of subliminal stuff, psychological stuff, hidden energy, but now it's coming out in the open. So it is there now for you to see and for you to shift and change. It also is in trine to, hang on a second, I take it back. Yeah. You've got sextile energy to your natal Neptune, as well as your midheaven. So there is a shift with career And it does have to do with a psychological shift for you, a deep psychological shift, because the Neptune in Scorpio is about that. Like, you really have this intensity about you. Interestingly, also, Uranus is in the house Scorpio rules for you, but it's in Leo. And it's 22 degrees Leo, and so there can be so much interesting stuff. I'm sorry. So Uranus late degrees. Okay, so this is something that I found out recently about late degrees of Leo squaring Scorpio. In 1 week, I had 2 of my credit cards frauded. So that energy can be the energy of fraud, the late degree Leo versus Scorpio. So right now, Sun and Mercury are late degrees Scorpio, and natal Uranus is it's 22 Leo. So there's something in joint finances, which is that house. The Leo house for you is in the 8th house. So it's about the finances and the Sun-Mercury conjunction. Now Mercury has gone past the Sun, so there was some light shed on it, which is the Sun. It's the illumination of it. And Mercury, which is the communication and the discussion of it. So there's also a duplicity or lying or fraud going on with the words that are said. And it's ego, okay? There's something, it's ego-related because that's the Sun. So it's like, I want my way, and I'm going to do it my way, and if I don't get my way, I'm going to, burn it to the ground kind of energy, because that's Scorpio.
That's the third partner. She's a Scorpio.
Yeah. So it is coming to a head. It actually already came to a head when Sun went past 22 for you. The other things are there's energy around the money, and there's frugality. I'll say that again slower. Frugality with Jupiter and Virgo. So this is kind of an interesting energy. Jupiter is expansive, and Virgo is kind of contractive. So Virgo wants to hold on to it because they don't trust that it's going to be there. And so they'll sock away money, and, the earth energy, all the earth signs have a little bit of that in them, but it's expanding that feeling. Earlier this year, Jupiter was on Pluto in your 8th house, so that was a huge shift for you. And the other thing that happened, and this kind of harkens back to about 5 years ago, Saturn was going through Virgo, and it was hitting all those planets for you about 5 years ago, because it takes 2.5 years to go through a sign. So it went through Libra, and it went through Scorpio, so maybe a little bit longer than 2.5, a little longer than 5, maybe 6 years ago. Yeah, that's when it all kind of went boom. Saturn hit your Pluto in other people's money, and it's like, bam, wait a minute. And that was the beginning of the trigger of what you were having to deal with, and Jupiter is wrapping that energy up. Jupiter went over your Pluto, and it's in Virgo. It's healing. It's expansive. It's a shift in ideology, which is what Jupiter is the ruler of, and Virgo is very analytical. So somewhere in that mix, you got this epiphany, this aha moment of like, I can't live like this with these people anymore, and you're shifting. Okay, that's where you're at right now. Okay?
Yeah.
So Jupiter, right about late August, September, is when you really felt this more strongly, when Jupiter was right on your Pluto at 6 degrees. So I'm just going to look that up. Hang on, because he flew really fast. Once he went direct, he was going really fast. So it was September, the second week of September. Okay? That's right when he hit all that energy for you. So it kind of started blowing open like, no, not going to happen. So what also happened at that time is Saturn squared. Jupiter was going, they haven't had, I don't think they had an exact square. I don't know. There's so many aspects going through the skies right now. It's hard to keep it straight on what they've touched and what, have you touched it before or not, or it's approaching. Because there's also an approaching Neptune-Saturn square right now. So I'm like, So Jupiter did square Saturn because Saturn's at 6. And at some point, I think it was a late degree Scorpio, which again is that fraud point. Okay. So that was, I want to say early September, so it was right around September as well. Anyway, the point is Jupiter is moving through this. He will be wrapping up the energy over the course of the next year. This is your healing time. Healing time around commitments. Are you looking, you said you're looking for it all to shift and change. It's going to be better. I think there are some dreams that are coming in for you with Neptune going direct in an hour from now. That's how close it is.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, the fact that you called me when Neptune's going direct within an hour tells me you absolutely are ready for this shift, okay? Because Chiron, the wounded healer, is at 16 Pisces, and Jupiter's at 19 Virgo, opposite, expanding the wounding and the healing. So this, and you've got, this is a personal observation. Vesta, the planet, or the asteroid Vesta, is in, it's, for me, kind of an energy around women who are difficult to deal with. And so, you know, that energy is now so this is hugely karmic for you. So what I see is that the expansion of Jupiter and healing Virgo opposite all this energy in Pisces, with South Node at 29, Vesta at 28, Chiron at 16, and Neptune turning direct today. And Neptune is right on your South Node and your Chiron conjunction. So your house of money, Chiron South Node, natally Chiron South Node, transiting Vesta, Neptune turning direct, everything here is like done, moving on. And so it is the culmination. It's the healing for you, okay? And Jupiter kind of punctuates all that for you. And then let's see what else. I don't know. You've got so much energy right there in the second house. So as far as possessions are concerned, Jupiter is also houses and real estate in my interpretation. So he's in joint finances, which is your marital finances. I think there is some healing at 19. I'm trying to figure out 19. There's still, you know, he's going to oppose Chiron, and no, he already opposed Chiron. He's going to oppose Vesta and the South Node next year, and it'll be in August of next year. That will be the final done with the situation, okay? And I wish I could tell you sooner, but Jupiter has to get out of your house, joint finances house, and also it's partners, the commitment to partners, financial partners. So Jupiter, when he goes to Libra, that's going to be a huge shift for you, and that is next year. It's September of next year. And then it's right before he does that, August, he's going to be hitting Vesta and South Node. Actually, by next year, they could be in a different position, so he might actually hit them sooner than that. So, and this is kind of you're getting a little taste of what it's like to have a private reading with me. You're really lucky because we don't have as many. You're the only caller today because I switched times. And normally I have to get through so many callers and I can only give, you know, a hint of this. But when I get into a chart, I see so many archetypes and so much information, really, which is why if you have a reading with me, I usually record it because it's just so much.
I love it. And that's why I listened last week, and I thought, I've got to get a reading with this lady because she really talks the language and gets deep and has the intuition in there, too. And you know, I've studied astrology for many years, and I know more than the average bear, but I'm no astrologer by any means. But
I think you don't give yourself enough credit.
I do know more than most people, but it's fun. But we're just ready. Like I said, we moved to a new town, and we're going on 3 years, and this all happened right within the first year, and it's been holding us back from getting on with our life and going where we need to go and doing what we need to do, and just ready to do this. So we'll see. I mean, my husband with Pluto coming in, he's got Pluto in his 12th right now, so he's probably going through what I just went through the last couple of years.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no doubt. I'm just looking here. I'm doing the numbers with the nodes. And the nodes really, at the end of June, is a pretty strong connection to the nodes. So it's going to be I'm just crossing them. It's going to be June 21st, which is when the sun goes into Cancer. Cancer rules the home and hearth. So quite honestly, I'm thinking that home and hearth and also the energy going on with the house of possessions and money at the same time. And then, of course, when the sun goes into Cancer, it's right there in trine to your Chiron. So I'm looking to June for you for the situation with the house. I hate to say that. There may be something, you know, Neptune's moving forward, but quite honestly, because this woman is a strong connection with, see, what happens is the sun goes into Sagittarius along with Mercury, and that's going to join up with Saturn, and Saturn is going to have a T-square and also square to Neptune. So there's a little bit more of that story that's coming in, but it's kind of like, there's back and forth and conflict, and it's going to have a culmination when there's that direct hit to Saturn, right?
Okay. Right.
So, coming, I'd say June, personally, I wouldn't buy anything until after Neptune gets past Chiron and Vesta. Or actually, they're going to have to, that might not even be possible. I'm sorry. Neptune's so slow. So that's probably not a good advice. So hang on a second.
Sure.
Yeah, I disagree with what I just said. I disagree with myself. Yeah.
Well, we're looking into what? We rent a home. We rent now, and we're looking for a home that we can also have as a business.
Okay.
It has rental property as well with it. It has a rental cabin to go with the house, so it would be both where we live and could make some extra income along with our career. Then what I would say is aim for Sagittarius. So Sagittarius rules real estate, and you're also going to have a sextile between, actually you do right now have a sextile between Venus and Saturn. So Mars, you know what? There's a sextile with Mars as well between Saturn in Sagittarius, and that might actually make it come about. Mm-hmm. And it's also in the house of Sagittarius, the 9th house. Mm. So have you tried to put? You said that she's holding up what's going on. Yes, it's an arbitration, and we're just waiting, for her to wake up and realize that she's not going to win this. She thinks we're going to just walk away, and it's not happening.
Okay. Well, I want to say that next year there's a retrograde of Jupiter in Virgo, which means going back over old issues, and it's in the house of litigation, so that kind of adds that little extra to it. I think you will win, but I think it might take as long as another year.
Ugh.
I know.
All right, well.
I would honestly, I could look further into it, but, right now I can't really say that I feel comfortable looking into that right now.
No, that's fine. No, I plan on getting in contact with you anyway, so.
Okay. So, wonderful.
We'll give you more time. How's that? We'll give you a little more time.
Yeah, definitely. And then also, if you do want to do a reading, then we can go over your husband's chart and, do so much more in depth, because you've got all the dynamics of what he's going through and everything. I'll just do a real quick look-see at his chart here. And and then we can also, go over just, see where he's at with what's going on. Because he has a 15-degree Capricorn rising. That's amazing. Your rising signs are 2 degrees apart.
Right.
Yeah, so that obviously puts all the same energy in the same houses. So it's like you guys definitely are on the same page with what's going on. You're in tandem. He was born 5 years after you, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, but for you have a stronger ability to detach, you can really detach from a situation if you have to. You've got Jupiter and Uranus in Aquarius in the first house. The other thing is, though, you can detach, but you can also be extremely stubborn. The combination tells me that it's like, just don't tell me what to do. I know what I'm doing. I'm a responsible person. Just don't tell me what to do. Jupiter in Aquarius, don't tell me what to do. Saturn in Capricorn, very set in your ways, very ingrained. So, 5 years from now is a huge release time for you. It's coming. So 2020, that's also, I can tell you, that's what you were born for. This upcoming energy in the next 10 years, this is your time to shine and what you're here on Earth for. So
good. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I am, because I've totally shifted I worked corporate America for 30 years, and now it's like, no. Supposed to do something more with this, and just don't know what it is.
It's a complete. So you've heard it, you've felt the energy, and you're on your way, and you're becoming the authority figure. So to speak, you're the master. You're becoming the master. Okay, you're no longer the employee, but you're the master, and that's really what the shift is about. And your husband, kind of the same boat. He's got Chiron Saturn conjunct in Pisces, So he's got all this energy right now with the money is also in his chart. He isn't quite as set, you know, you have the two of you together have a sextile between your Saturns, which means you can cooperate. He's much more sensitive and emotional about things. He adds the structure to the intuition, and you're pragmatic. You can see things in an organizational way and line it up and label it, and you know what needs to happen that way. And he can look at things and go, oh, I totally understand the energy of this. And he is in the house of money for him. So he has and I got chills all over for this. He has a sixth sense about money. This guy just knows, like, intent. Intuitively, he knows intent behind money and how, like, he can see markets shifting before anybody knows. You know, he sees economics. Like, he intuits what people's motivations are, and he can get there before it happens. I mean, his realm is the intuition of money and healing and the economy. That's what his path is in his chart. And his Pluto-Uranus conjunctions in your house of joint finances as well, with Jupiter right on it. So he's got Jupiter on his Pluto right now. So he's going through the huge shift around money, frugality. Are we going to have it? And Earth energy is very fearful. It can be fearful. So he has to go through this transition around, are we actually going to have the money? You know, yes, he can intuit on a personal level, but like joint finances, it makes him more skittish. So, yeah.
Interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, we got all those big planets moving and hitting both of us, which is Uranus is there, Pluto, Saturn. It's like,
you know what? I can tell you, you're really, really lucky that you have the same rising sign and similar enough planets in your charts that you have each other to go through it with, and you have such a deep connection. His south node's on your Neptune, so there's a deep karmic connection between the two of you, and you have the same life wounding. You know, the Pisces energy, you both have it, the wounding in money, and honestly, some of the wounding is like you're spiritual beings, and it makes it really difficult for you to have Pisces in the house of money because it makes you feel like no matter what you do, it never seems to work out or be enough sometimes. And that there's this like, I want to say like that energy is a real dreamy quality around money. So by nature, you're not, I mean, there are other things that counteract, like the Capricorn definitely counteracts some of the Pisces nature around money, because Capricorn wants to have their ducks in a row, but Neptune just accepts it all. It's all good, you know? And so they aren't naturally inclined to be monetary people. They're more about the energy of money and the feeling of money as opposed to the pragmatism of like putting it in the bank. They're much more dreamy. I don't know how else to put it, but it's like, it's all good. It'll all be there. And then the other side, of course, is Pluto, Uranus conjunction in Virgo. That's a healing energy. And your husband definitely is a healer around money because his Saturn's in the house of money. You're here to heal a lot of the ideology around fear and things that grip you personally that you want to let go of this lifetime. So, yeah.
Great.
Anyway, I could go on and on. There's still so much more in your chart.
Well, I'm sure there is. That's why we'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I'd love to
it's good talking
I can only
to
imagine
you.
if you could do it in an hour. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. And remind me that you call the show if you do contact me privately for a reading, okay?
Okay, I definitely will.
Okay, wonderful, Nancy. Take care. Talk to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Actually, I was going to spend the last 15 minutes doing the chart with the Paris attack. Not that I particularly like ending the show on that note. You know, I haven't really gotten into it as much. And so this will give me a chance to really clarify kind of what I put up with the chart. So we've got about 11 minutes, and I'll go over that. So if you haven't seen the chart, you can go to my Facebook page. It's at Astrologer Angel on Facebook. Just type that in. You'll find me. And I posted the chart, which is a Cancer rising. So this was done for Friday, November 13th Friday, November 13th, 2015 at 9:15 p.m. And I've got it for CET, so I guess that's Central European time in Paris. So from what I heard, it was, I want to say 21:15 because they do military time. So that's how I got this chart. And I do a tropical porphyry true node chart. And so it's 23-degree Cancer rising. And there's a Jupiter at 18 Virgo. Mars is at 0 degrees, 33 minutes Libra. Venus is at 5 degrees Libra. And they're in the house of home and family. And let's see, Venus is in conjunct Neptune, retrograde, stationing, because it was last weekend and he was stationing. And then Saturn is at 5 degrees Sagittarius, squaring Neptune. So there's an inconjunct between Venus and Neptune, Saturn and Neptune. And then the moon was at 15 degrees Sagittarius as well, which is, again, foreign energy. We have a finger of God, lots of inconjuncts all over the place, but a finger of God triggered by Mercury sextiling Jupiter at 18 degrees. So Mercury is at 18 Scorpio and Jupiter is at 18 Virgo. And Uranus is at 17 Aries. So it was almost an exact finger of God up in the house of career, but it's also in near the midheaven, which is the spotlight and the fame point. So the public eye. So it affected the masses. On top of the fact that Uranus rules the masses, and in Aries, again, it's aggression and it's the unexpected. So, and it's also multiplicity because there were multiple venues. So the time that they actually chose to attack, you know, all of the different venues were attacked. So this was planned before Mars was in Libra. Of course, that is the home energy, but the North Node just went into Virgo at 29 and 42 minutes. So it literally had just gone in to the North and South Node had just gone in across the midheaven and the home and family cusp, which means there is a karmic tied to this. There is the midheaven is 28 Pisces. So the spotlight is very deep for our world and the world axis, I believe, right up there in Aries. So the South Node is bringing out karma from the past story, trying to wrap up the story. And quite honestly, I think personally, I feel like the story is a culmination of this whole energy of the Middle East and what's been going on there. I think we're more aware, more cognizant with Saturn and Sagittarius. It's about trying to understand, taking ownership, trying to understand how we can all come together and work it out with Venus and Mars in Libra. Again, it's about balance. And, you know, Mars and Venus in Scorpio, if this had happened then, it would mean that there were more issues around revenge. Yes, there are revenge issues because the Sun and Mercury were there, and one of the points of the finger of God is Mercury. So there is a revenge factor, but there is also the accident factor. And I think on some level there had to have been a misstep or something didn't necessarily go as planned, even though it is kind of incidental whether or not it went as planned. There was so much damage. Venus and Mars hitting the 18 degrees when either one of those hits 18 Scorpio, there will definitely be some information, some energy infused into this situation. And I'm guessing by the time Mars hits Scorpio at 18, we'll probably be into some type of action against the terrorists. Sun at 21 is about to go, well, that was the day of, but the Sun going into Sagittarius is going to be I hate to say this, but to me, that's like a jihad energy, because Scorpio is about revenge and intensity of emotion, transitioning into Sagittarius, which is spirituality and religion. So that energy, that transition point, which will be in January, is going to be from revenge into a religious issue. And the sun, again, ego on Saturn, sun on Saturn, is going to be very strong around egos and different people, the different points of view, and not wanting to let go of being right. But it will also be, in my opinion, a really strong time of hyperbole, because the energy around fire energy, Mercury, especially when Mercury gets into Sagittarius, it's going to be about saying things without really regarding how it's going to affect the situation. And looking at what's going on, we've got a Mercury retrograde in January coming up the 5th of January, and it just gets into Aquarius. So let me see, Mercury is in Sagittarius on the 21st, so it's coming up pretty quickly. So before the end of this month, you can look to have people think they're already saying it, but it's only going to intensify. There's going to be kind of like a trash talk going on. And then Mercury gets into Capricorn on the 10th of December, which is when we're going to probably have much more pragmatic action towards, this is what we want to do, this is how it's going to get categorized, labeled, and this is our plan of attack. We have Mars going to Scorpio on the 4th of January, and that is coupled with Mercury retrograding in Aquarius. So Scorpio, Aquarius are actually in square to each other. So I'm guessing that we'll see the first military action, or not, maybe not the first, but definitely the beginning of the new year is definitely going to have an expression of the square between Mercury and Mars. So anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore, so I'm just going to tell you we've got Sagittarius energy coming soon, which, even though it can be energy on foreign fronts or with people of foreign origin, it is also ruled by Jupiter, which is expansive and can be very optimistic. So I do send prayers for love and light to everybody who hears this podcast. I know it's going to be an intense time coming up with the end of the year. We've got Neptune going direct here in half an hour, and it also means that it's a watershed, and we will be seeing more rain and water and emotions, because that's what Neptune does. And there will be escapism, because Neptune doesn't want to see what's going on in the world. And I know, because I have Saturn in Pisces, so I completely get that, wanting to just run and hide. And that's kind of where I am. But, Pluto in Capricorn has to face it head on. So I hope you all find your peace with the world as it is, and add to the peace by making the change in your own lives, because that's all we can do. We only have ourselves to change, because that's where it begins. Peace begins with me. And I wish you a happy year, a happy week. We're coming up on Thanksgiving next week. I look forward to talking about happier things next week, and I wish you the best. Talk to you again next week soon. Bye. Take care. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at Ironwood Rain.